I don't know about you, but sometimes I find it all a little bit overwhelming. The local, the national, the international news, even objects flying in space are trying to distract us from making art. Things are getting into our heads, keeping us awake at night, and all of that just feels a bit overwhelming and a bit much. But our creative curiosity asks us to remain open, to stay curious, to keep scanning the horizon for glimmers of first light of dawn, a light at the end of the tunnel, to give us something to be hopeful and focused on. So if any of that resonates with you as an artist or a creative, then this video might be for you. I'm Riley and I help creatives and artists to navigate the internal and external world so that they can stay focused on their work, keep producing in the midst of challenges, and allow their problem spaces, the problems in the world, to inform them and to grow and thrive as an artist. And I mean, I think even just the physical space, I mean, I'm sat here in Dublin and it's 5:30 in the evening and outside it's pitch black, it's raining, it's starting to get cold, and we're a whole month away from the winter solstice. And I already know that it won't be till just after 8 o'clock tomorrow morning when the sun comes up again. So even in the Northern Hemisphere, we're starting to feel the hibernation period, the winter's closing in, and we want to kind of hunker down and snuggle up, and that's part of the season. But also, I was talking to Barnaby, who's in one of the last videos, and he's saying it's 24 degrees in Melbourne and it's getting brighter every day and warmer, and it's a great reminder that, you know, this is also a season. And probably the news cycle is seasonal too. Like, we're in this phase where everything is coming at us. And if you're trying to stay informed and you're trying to stay like open to the world, then there's a lot coming at you and there's a lot to deal with. And I've talked about this before a lot in kind of videos about making space, but I really think that having space is so fundamental for us as artists, as creatives. If you're running a business or you're trying to stay productive, we have to have space to do that. And it's so important to be able to think and process all of those things in the midst of, you know, the news, in the midst of the chaos that may be coming up. And you can be as open to that as you want, or you can be clear about boundaries that you have around those things as well. So like, I've talked a lot about like putting our phones down, keeping them away, limiting social media, but that they're all personal choices, and your capacity for it may be completely different to mine or to somebody else's as well. So I totally get that, but there are ways in which we can live open and with curiosity. But also, I was reading the wonderful book by Rick Rubin, The Creative Act. And in one section, he says this: "The artist does not value safety and smallness. Reducing our palette to fit the perimeter of limited beliefs suppresses the work. New creative possibilities and sources of inspiration are blocked from view. If the artist keeps playing the same note, eventually the audience loses interest." And I think that piece is really important, that when we're getting closed down, by the news, by all the things that are coming at us, it's limiting our belief, it's limiting our opportunity. But that may also be, like I said, seasonal. Like, it's not just that we're coming through the end of autumn and towards winter, but it could be seasonal in your work. It could be that you're going through a cycle of repetitiveness or limited perspective. It could also be that your time has been taken up by family, by I was talking to one person who has been a caretaker for quite a while, and, things have changed for them, so they're seeing new possibilities, but that's just a space and an opportunity, and we have to respond to life. And that's absolutely the way it is. But, do we allow those things to limit us, or do we see the potential in that situation? Because I think that's also really important for us to remember, that as artists and creatives, we're often problem solvers. And that's part of the creative act too, is we need to figure out how to solve these problems in the midst of it. And I think the key to that is curiosity, is by staying open and staying aware that, as these things come up, like, have you ever taken on a creative project that's gone completely smoothly from like idea through to output? I'd be really surprised if the answer is yes. And Rubin in the book goes on to say, there's dullness in sameness. At a certain point in the creator's journey, the mind can become more resistant to new methods or new styles of expression. A once useful routine might, over time, turn into a narrow, fixed way of working. To break out of this mindset, our charge is to soften, to become more porous, and to let more light in. But how do we do that? Like, how do we stay on top of that? How do we become more porous and let more light in? And like I said, I think curiosity is the engine for that. It's always thinking that, the process will take care of us. When those obstacles come up in the midst of our project, like, what do they look like? What are they asking of us? Is this an actual, like, problem? And that could be you've run out of paint. It could be that one of your pieces of gear dies, or, isn't working or isn't available. It could be that some other kind of limitation has come in your way. But also, those limitations are often a chance to see things differently, a chance to work around it. And I think as creatives, we're like the ultimate problem solvers. We're always working within the limitations of what we have. And in most art schools, like, that's how they help us to broaden our horizons, is actually by limiting our palettes, or limiting our way of thinking, because then we've got to get more creative and get more expressive, and we learn something new all the time. And I think that's a really important part of this whole process. And is it actually an opportunity to, one, love the process, to really dive into that, to allow ourselves to be free? Is it an opportunity to be open to new inputs, to new creative possibilities? Like, where are you in that place? Are you getting stuck because something is limiting your thinking, whether that's around your creativity, whether that's what's coming at you from the news or from the world, or maybe something, something has come up in your life, like maybe a genuine emergency or health scare. Something has hit right now and it's landing with you, and it's okay to take space and time to deal with that and process it, but it's also to realize that that's part of the challenge of the creative life, is to take the rough with the smooth, and take those as maybe not complete setbacks or roadblocks, but hiccups, and there's often these things just force us to rethink our strategies, rethink our processes. And you can have a complete limiting mindset around these things, but you can also take a chance to pause, take a deep breath, have a look around, figure out where you're at and figure out how you can move forward. Because in most situations, there is a way to still move forward. And that's where our processing, that's where our creativity gets involved. And that's where I think, having that key, the key to unlock this is curiosity. Because I just think, for me, when I think about all of the things that are going on in the world, my tiny little brain can't take it all in. It can't process it. I can't conceptualize all of what's going on. So I have to believe that something bigger than I can explain is at play. And bigger than maybe anyone can. And I just think that in a world of infinite possibilities, I can't know all the answers. But I also believe that maybe no one can know all the answers. So therefore there isn't somebody who's on the right side of this and somebody who's on the wrong side of it. So I don't have a specific example around that. I'm just being really general and generic in saying almost all of the times when I thought there was this huge problem, this huge block in the way, this huge, minefield, whatever, terminology you need to use, I've almost always gotten to the other side and gone, taken a big exhale and gone, actually that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was. The majority of the time, things have come up, things have gotten in the way, our survival instincts kick in, and I absolutely, jump to the worst possible conclusion, completely catastrophize, lie awake at night, running through all the possibilities and parameters of what could happen, and generally none of them do. None of the worst things happen, and in fact maybe I learn and grow and come out the other side as a better, more open human being. And I think that's what the creative process offers us and teaches us. Maybe sometimes the things that we encounter as problems are there to help us to move forward and to move on and to be more open, curious individuals. Let me go back to the book. To keep the artistic output evolving, continually replenish the vessel from which it comes, and actively stretch your point of view. Invite beliefs that are different from the ones you hold, and try to see beyond your own filter. Purposely experiment beyond the boundaries of your taste. Examine approaches you may dismiss as too highbrow or lowbrow. What can you learn from these extremes? What are the unexpected surprises? What door might open in your work? I love that idea of us challenging our frameworks, challenging our mindsets, challenging where we're standing from. And I think it's helpful for us when we come to looking at the world as well as looking at our work. And I just want to leave you with that challenge of what can we learn from this process? What can we learn from these things that are coming at us? One, as always, I'm going to say, put your phone down. Don't get stuck in the infinite scroll. Limit your time, on social media or watching the news, especially if you're finding it triggering. Get out into nature. Spend time around the beautiful people in your life that love you. Walking your dog, hanging out with your cat, whatever that might be. And I also think that it's a great time to invite collaborators into your work and for them to challenge you and to challenge the way you think and the way you process, because maybe how you put it together isn't the way that you're going to put it together in the future. Maybe you need to have somebody kind of push up against you and kind of scrape off the edges so that you're able to figure out new ways to work and new ways to move forward. Anyway, as always, I'm here to help. If you'd like to talk through where you're at or where you're stuck, feel free to click the link in the description. At the moment, I'm doing 30-minute creative clarity calls. This is not a sales pitch. This is free chance to kind of talk through where you're at, and I'd love to hear what's blocking you, what's getting in your way, and help you to figure out if you want to move forward. I mean, I do offer paid services as well. You can click the link and see what I have on offer on my website. And also, if you'd like to figure out a little bit about where you're stuck, you know, there's different stages. That was in my last video. I'll put a link for it up here. But also, there's a quiz on my website as well, and you can take that and kind of figure out where you're stuck and what steps you can go through to move forward. And whether we were ever to work together or not, please stick around and watch the videos. The next one that YouTube is going to suggest is going to be up here, and hopefully it'll help you to figure out what things you can do to move forward. And if you've stuck around this long, please think about hitting the subscribe button. It's free for you, but it would give me a real buzz to see more people subscribed and watching along. Okay, until next time, stay curious and stay creative. Okay, thanks for watching.